Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Thursday, March the 12th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Matt Robinson will be with us in just a moment as well, and we're here to break down a huge, massive, monstrous Thursday NHL card. It is a loaded slate. I'm just counting it up here. 14 games, 28 of the 32 teams in action here tonight. So it's a big card. It's actually, from a pregame betting volume for me, a smaller slate than usual for a big card like this. Not quite as many bets as I would have thought I'd have on a 14-game card, but still a lot of good spots, and looking forward to talking about them. We'll basically look back quickly on last night, kind of an up-and-down night, win some, lose some. A perfect example of that is Montreal-Ottawa, where we had the first period over, but we had the full game over, and we split with those two. And what a performance by Montreal. What a performance by Jacob Fowler late. I mean, that sequence of saves when they were holding on to that 3-2 lead was unreal by Jacob Fowler, and it validates and vindicates why Montreal decided to call him up and start him last night instead of the struggling Sam Montembeault. You saw it right there. There's no way that game doesn't go to overtime if Sam Montembeault's in net. He's not making all those saves the way his season's gone. Fowler did, and unfortunately it cost me an over, but we did have a piece of Montreal on the money line, and we had that first period, first goal at plus 160, which also cashed. So it ended up being an okay game. It was a very entertaining game, and Montreal with a big 3-2 win. That's a tough loss for Ottawa. I don't know what was wrong with Allmark last night either. A couple of the goals, he just lost where the puck was. He just forgot where the rebound went and paid the price for it on the first goal and paid the price for it on the winning goal for the Montreal Canadiens. So he just, bad rebound control / couldn't find the puck after he made the initial save. It ended up being both of those for Allmark last night, but a big win there for Montreal. And then the other game, give Philadelphia credit. A bad loss for Washington, man. Already up against it, several points out of the playoffs, and losing to Philadelphia, not a good thing if you're the Washington Capitals, but props to the Flyers last night getting the job done in a nice 4-1 victory over the Washington Capitals on the TNT game. It was actually a better performance from Ersson. He stepped up, for a guy that's had an up and down season. Washington unable to convert, and obviously give Philadelphia some credit there after getting really kind of embarrassed, if you will, by the Rangers. For the Rangers to beat them 6-2 the other night was pretty bad for Philly. To respond that way, very impressive. Alex, your thoughts on the very brief Wednesday slate?
Yeah, I had 4 plays, none of them won. You're going to have a 2-game slate sometimes, kind of a tough beat. I had that draw in Ottawa. Montreal looked like that was going to kind of cruise. I thought they were going to take their points.
With Montembeault, we cash it. With Fowler, we didn't.
Fowler, we didn't. So that's just the way that goes. So just turn the page to a better, bigger card with a better slate and some better picks, in my opinion, today.
No doubt. It was a very short slate. Matty Robb in the house. Matt, anything you want to add about Wednesday?
No, nothing to add. I didn't really catch either of the games. I caught a little bit of the TNT game early on, but we had an end of the year party for the UNR team that I helped coach last night. So was with the guys, and but yeah, didn't have any bets out on the table. I knew, we had a really good Tuesday with a lot of games, a lot of action that I liked. We've got 14 games today, so took the day off yesterday. A little bit of basketball betting going on with the tournaments going on right now, so looking forward to tonight's big card.
Yeah, Matt, you'll be happy to know that I did bet a little Arkansas to win the SEC tournament. So we will we'll see if they're able to get. I liked it. It was plus 650, I think, when I took it. So it's a pretty good price. It's a better value than, say, the teams ahead of them, like Florida, and I think Florida was up there. There were a couple teams
Florida's
that were ahead of them.
Yeah, but yeah. They're definitely in the mix. It always helps when you get that top 4 seed and you get those two days off. They'll be fresh tomorrow. We'll see who they end up playing.
And they play a good tournament style. They've always played a good tournament style.
Yeah. When I was in college, it was a mix. Musselman was the coach at the end of my college run, but Yeah, they'd get into the NCAA tournament at 9, 10, 11 seed, and then they'd make the Sweet 16. I think they made the Elite Eight as a 10 seed one of the seasons. So they definitely do kind of peak at the right time, if you will. So
Yeah.
you know, it's the opposite of some of their other sports, but the basketball team does seem to do well at this time of year, and they've definitely got the best team they've had in a while this season. They should be like a 4 seed, potentially a 3 seed, even if they win the SEC tournament. So, a lot to play for.
A lot to play for, indeed, no doubt. And of course, Matt played college hockey at Arkansas. That's why he's a big Razorback fan here to this day. Supports them whenever he can. All right, let's get into the Thursday card. It is a huge one. 14 games. We'll begin with Anaheim, Toronto. We've got -110 both sides here, 6.5 the total in this game. We've got obviously this Toronto dismal stretch continued with the loss against Montreal. They just don't start games well. I actually thought they played okay. There were times they actually, outplayed Montreal the last 2 periods, but it took them getting caved in the first period to finally wake up. And you can't do that. You got to bring it for 60 minutes, and they're not doing that right now. The losing streak now at 8 straight games for the Toronto Maple Leafs after that 3-1 loss. Anaheim on this Canadian road trip started in Winnipeg with a 4-1 win. They play Toronto tonight. They play Ottawa on Saturday. And then a back-to-back in Montreal on Sunday. This is, as Perlo says in the chat, indeed a very fishy line. It can be fishy all at once. I'm still on Anaheim, -110, and I'm on Anaheim team total over 3. I went with the flat 3 on the team total for the Anaheim Ducks here in this game. You could get 3.5 at a pretty nice plus price, but, if we get 3 at low juice, just for, that security in case they score exactly 3, we'll take it. So over 3 at around -115, and also that Anaheim money line. I mean, it's just, to me, it's cheap. Anaheim's the much better team. Toronto's got to prove it to me that they can win, and they're not playing 60 minutes. Their offense has been hit or miss. Defense has been a disaster. You see them. They're getting caved in. They don't have the puck for the majority of games. That first period, if not for Joseph Woll in net against the Habs, that could have been 3-4-0, 5-0 Montreal rather than just 2-0. That is how rough that first period was. They start like that tonight against a skilled team that can have put the puck in the net like Anaheim. That's asking for trouble. Alex, what do you think here, Anaheim, Toronto?
I am on Anaheim in this game, but I would tread lightly the rest of this East Coast trip, because let's keep in mind, this has been a very interesting season for the Ducks. Obviously, playing now trying to get to the top of the Pacific Division, but when they last went out east on a long trip, that was in the middle of a 9-game losing streak. They have not done well out east this season, despite how well they've done overall. So this is, like I said, fishy line for a reason. I think that's kind of why the books have it lined this way. I'm still taking Anaheim in the spot. No way I can back Toronto. But like I said, moving forward, the next couple of games they have after this, they're at Ottawa, at Montreal. Those are tougher games. I would be a little careful just riding the Ducks after that. But tonight, this is definitely worth the spot. I actually got -$1.06 with Anaheim money line.
All right, there we go. I'll give you some props on this game in a minute. First, we'll go to Matt. What do you think here, Anaheim, Toronto?
I'm on the same page. I'm on Ducks money line and team total over 3. I was just looking the last time Toronto held a team under 3. Surprisingly, it was the Oilers, but it was back on February 3rd. So it's been quite a bit of time during this stretch. So keep it simple. The line does seem a little odd to me. I would have expected the Ducks, just given current form of both teams, to maybe be -125, -130 in this. But, I know they're on the road, far away from home. So maybe that's playing a little bit of an effect here. And, you got to think Toronto's going to win a game at some point, before the end of the season. So maybe the books feel it could be tonight, but got to take the Ducks at -110 against a team like Toronto in current form.
Yeah, as far as props, someone in the chat reading my mail that Beckett Seneca, the Toronto kid, playing close to home. I agree. He's definitely worth a player prop here, this goal prop tonight here in this game for the Anaheim Ducks for sure. If I'm going to bet anyone from Toronto, it would probably be, Cowan is with Matthews and Nylander. He's getting a great opportunity on that top line. I could definitely see him maybe chipping in a little bit offensively here for the Leafs tonight in this game. Michelli was on a goal-scoring streak, but that got snapped last game. Looks like tonight a couple lineup changes. Michael Pezzetta called up from the Toronto Marlies, and it's very interesting that that's the guy they bring up. He's not going to give you much offensively, but he'll drop the gloves, he'll play physical, and maybe they need a little injection of that, Toronto, a little life and energy in this lineup on this 8-game losing streak. I think that's what they're kind of hoping for with putting in a guy like Michael Pezzetta. Joseph Woll back in net. I'm not shocked by that. I mean, it could have been much worse against Montreal if not for him. So I'm not that surprised that Craig Berube is going back to him in net. And it looks like Dostal, but not yet confirmed. But I would expect it to be him tonight. All right, St. Louis, Carolina. Carolina minus 280, home favorites. 6 the total here in this game. This is one where Carolina, it feels like the Carolina-Pittsburgh game, where Carolina probably wins. It could be close. I mean, St. Louis is playing teams tough right now. We've talked about this. And even in the loss to the Islanders, up 3-0, they lose 4-3. Another game where they're competitive. That snapped a 4-game winning streak for the St. Louis Blues. We'll see if they can, how they fare here in this one. I'm tempted by this very, very attractive draw price, though, in this game. Because the one thing you're seeing from St. Louis is certainly a competitive effort from them. You're seeing them score goals. Do we really think, Carolina at this point in time, like it's been a while since Carolina's put the boots to somebody. They seem to be in a lot of close games lately. You can get with this draw at Pinnacle 380. It's a pretty damn good price when you look at it. So I think I'm going to dabble in that. East versus West. Carolina's not going to care if St. Louis gets points. So I think the draw at plus 380 is worth a shot. Binnington and net. I did bet Carolina team total over in the last game against Pittsburgh. I think if I was to look at anything for Carolina, I'd just go team total 3.5. Minus 145 is not a great price, but I did get a little bit of that. Because if Carolina wins by margin, they're probably going to score 4 goals. So it's kind of like a hedge for the draw. So Carolina over 3.5 and a small shot on the draw for me. Alex, what do you think here? Blues, Hurricanes.
I see your 380 at Pinnacle raised you plus 395 over at Bet Online. On the draw, that's what I grabbed earlier. But I also like both teams to score in the first period and first period over. I got those at FanDuel. They got plus 182 with both teams to score, minus 128 with that first period over. So I see this being kind of a back and forth game early, and then things kind of slow down. East versus West. Like I said, St. Louis still playing competitive hockey even though they're out of the race. So that's why you see them hanging on here. Plus 395. It's just too good of a price to pass up on a little draw there.
All right, Matt, what do you think? St. Louis, Carolina.
Yeah, this is an over by effective game for me. I actually got it at 5.5 yesterday when this opened up, but I also like the first period here. Carolina shoots a lot of pucks. They've been a team I've kind of leaned on a little bit in the first period overs, so that'll be the play for me. Not really much value on the sides. I think Carolina gets it done at home. I could see St. Louis sticking around, but yeah, I think the Hurricanes win this game. So, first period and full game over. That'll be it for me from this one.
All right, good. You know what? Over 5.5 minus 135 is the price on that right now with the full game total. And the fact that Carolina, believe it or not, they're on a nice little surge here, 6-1 to the over, an over surge that is, 6-1 in their last 7 games. So I might get involved with the over 5.5 minus 135 a little bit here in this one, considering that run that they're on, because I think they'll score on St. Louis with Binnington in net. Although he's been not necessarily as bad as he was pre-Olympic break at the NHL level, but still think we're going to see some goals from Carolina. Could get a couple from, because look, Bussy's probably going to start. He's projected for Carolina. Hasn't been as sharp since the Olympic break ended. So I could see the Blues getting on the board here. I'm going to sprinkle on the 3 players again for St. Louis: Holloway, Thomas, and Snuggerud. We got to go back to the well with Jimmy Snuggerud again. Especially the bargain bin hit for me the other night with Jimmy Snuggerud. Consecutive game goal streak is now at 3 for him. Jarvis Nikishin, the blue liner for Carolina, has scored in back-to-back games, and you can get him at like plus 540 to find the back of the net. So some good prop options here with St. Louis and Carolina. All right, next up we've got Washington and those red hot. They just don't lose anymore. Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo minus 210, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Washington, obviously, very disappointing loss last night against Philly. And what hurts about that loss is you lose that game, and now you got to face this monumental task. And that's no pun intended, because I know their sports network now is called that. But monumental task here for Washington against this Buffalo Sabres team. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in net for the Sabres. We're going to get Charlie Lindgren, obviously, with this being back-to-back. Thompson got the start. A little surprised. But, hey, I shouldn't say I'm surprised, because, Jonathan Davis believes in it, and it makes sense. You start the best goalie against the weaker team. You want to get the 2 points, but that didn't work out for Washington last night. Lindgren's not been great lately. 4 goals allowed to Montreal, 3 to Detroit, 6 to Edmonton, 5 to Colorado, 3 to Nashville, 4 to Anaheim in his last several starts. Buffalo team total over for me. That's the main look here in this game. I'm going to wait, see if a 5.5 pops up. And if it does, then I'll probably get in on the over full game at that number, at that price. But for me, pregame here, the main move is over 3.5 here, minus 130 for Buffalo team total over. Alex, what do you think here? Capitals, Sabres.
This is the pregame pass, but I'm waiting for live looks, like you said, waiting for maybe that total to drop from 6.5 down to 6. Get a better price on Buffalo team total over. You can't take anything with these prices. And it's just wild to see Buffalo, favorite in the last 200 range. I can't remember the last time it had to be before the show even existed. The last time that's happened, but certainly, this is the rarefied air we talk about here now with Buffalo. Can you win in these spots? And so they got to prove it, and I think they can. But they said we can wait in game and get some little better prices on back.
A lot of props here. Zucker, 3 straight games with a goal. Give me that. Ryan Leonard, 2 straight games with a goal for Washington. Give me that. Zach Benson and Noah Ostlund, as Benji says in the chat, a little change in the lineup for Lindy Ruff. They are now on the top line with Tage Thompson. Give me those 2 guys, Benson and Ostlund, great value right now. And here's a sneaky one. He scored in the last game against San Jose, and he's a former Washington Capital. And he's played hard. He's been in a couple fights, too, the last week. He was in a fight in the Tampa game, the Crazy Lightning game, the game the other night. He dropped the gloves to San Jose, his former Capital, Beck Malenstein. How about that for a little down the board? He's a former Capital. He scored last game. He's plus 1,100, 11-1 to find the back of the net tonight. So there you go. Beck Malenstein. That's definitely a little bit of a shot in the dark there as far as a goal prop on the Buffalo side. But I think it's got some legs. It's got a shot. And that's all you can ask for at the price of 11-1. And working his bag off, as they say. Yes, Jarek, 100%. He has been a hard-working player lately for the Sabres. Really gives them good energy on that 4th line. Matt, what do you think here? Capitals, Sabres.
I think I'm going to wait for a live over here. I don't typically this would be a decent game for a same game parlay, but neither team's really trending well to the first period overs. But if I can get this down to a 5.5, maybe even a 6, if there's some pace early, I might take a shot at a 6 at a decent price. But a couple props. I noticed Josh Jones moved up the lineup onto the second line. It's looking like with Josh Norris and Alex Tuck, at least according to Daily Faceoff. So if that's the case, he's still on PP1. I may do a split bet with Josh Stone anytime goal, just for a couple bucks, and then power play point is plus 380. I think he's playing great hockey right now. So obviously moving up the lineup, getting rewarded for it. He was still chipping in that 8-7 game with the game-winning goal and the first goal of the game from the third line. So during this streak, he's still progressing and moving up the lineup. So it's great to see for him. But yeah, I like anytime goal. I think I saw it at like plus 250, so it's not bargain bin. And I won't be using it as a bargain bin, but power play points plus 380. So it could be a bargain bin, but I'm gonna leave off using the same guy every other show. So we'll take a break from Donor, but hopefully he gets a couple points tonight.
Still bet it. How many times have we seen friends of Matty Robinson score on the day he's on the show, whether it's Steph Nason going back years and now here Josh Doan. So like I said, it's been weird and uncanny how that's worked. But like I said, don't put it past Donor maybe to find the back of the net tonight for the Buffalo Sabres here. All right, Calgary, New Jersey. New Jersey minus 190, home favorite, 6.5 the total. Now, this game is not one I like when even I'm passing on it. And that's exactly what I'm doing here with the Flames and the Devils. I mean, I'm not going to talk myself into Calgary at this price for a second straight game after getting just blasted by the New York Rangers and shut out the other night. But watch them show up and win tonight. Now it's not, I sure as hell don't trust New Jersey in a price range like this. Minus 190. That being said, they haven't played since Sunday when they were blanked by the Detroit Red Wings, and I really like Detroit in that spot Sunday night against New Jersey. So I think you'll get a bounce back effort here from the Devils. You do have both teams off a shutout loss. We're supposed to be betting the over by Fecta here. First period over, full game over, both teams off a shutout loss. I think the last time we saw this, it cashed, but it's not easy to move on that with Calgary. You never know if the offense is going to show up for them. And the fact they couldn't put a puck in the net, not one puck in the net against Calgary, kind of has me hesitant to pull the trigger on this over by Fecta. Even though the angle says both teams off a shutout loss, you bet first period over, you bet full game over. Dustin Wolf, Jacob Markstrom confirmed in net. That's my lean over by Fecta. I'm not bullish on it, though, even with the super system in play. It did cash, though, the last time. I know that, but, geez, it's not easy for me to move on that right now with Calgary. Alex, what do you think here? Calgary, New Jersey.
14-game slate. There were 2 games that stuck out where I said I am absolutely not touching them at all. This is one of them. Pass for me.
Yeah. Matt, what do you think here, Flames Devils?
Yeah, as far as sides and totals go, I'm not on this one. If this total was a 5.5 to begin the game, you might catch me looking for a live look here. But 6.5, I don't really trust either of these teams to go off. There is a prop I like in this game that I might talk about a bit later, but sides and totals, I'm out.
I will say this about this game as far as I could see New Jersey going over their team. I could see, because Calgary did give up, how many goals was it? 4 against the Rangers. The Devils were playing a little bit better before they played Detroit, and they can beat bad teams. We know that. So I would be betting New Jersey before I bet Calgary, personally, in this game, but certainly not at this price. We'll lean over by Fecta. We'll lean New Jersey team total, but no bet right now for that. All right, next up, we've got Detroit and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay minus 220 home favorites here in this one. The total sitting at looks like 6 pretty much across the board here in this one. We do have some injury concerns here for the Detroit Red Wings. Captain Dylan Larkin, of course, still on the mend. Won't suit up here tonight for the Detroit Red Wings going into this game. We know Tampa Bay starting to see injuries again on their blue line. It looks like tonight Radish and Chernak and Lilleberg still out. Chernak still out as well. Radish, though, was a personal issue, personal matter. He was with his family to attend the memorial service of his father, Dwayne, who passed away. It's just a question of will he be back and available for this game tonight against the Detroit Red Wings. We'll see. That was a brutal loss for Detroit. I'm fascinated to see how they respond. This is kind of a live betting game for me. I want to see how Tampa comes out. That was not a good performance against Columbus. 31-18 outshot, and they definitely succumbed way more than Buffalo did to the war on ice against the Sabres in terms of an emotional flat spot and an emotional hangover. And that's not supposed to be the case. If I had to pick, guys, one team to not be flat, not be despondent following the ice war in Buffalo, it's supposed to be the team that lost that game, which was Tampa. And it didn't work out that way. Buffalo, despite winning that game, they were way more dialed in, ready to go, ready to play against San Jose. Tampa wasn't. And there's some real concerns. Now they're banged up again on the blue line, although we'll see if Radish returns. Even if he does, there's still multiple defensemen out. It's a team that's 1-6 in their last 7. I can't lay this price with Tampa Bay in this current form right now, but I don't know if I want Detroit. That was such a gut punch loss, and we're starting to see evidence of them not beating the better teams again, losing to Carolina, losing to Vegas, losing twice to Florida, losing to Utah. The last good team they beat was probably Ottawa. They did beat Nashville, too, on the road, but I don't like the direction of the play and the form of the Detroit Red Wings right now to bet them in this game either. So it's a real tough one. It's more of a live betting game for me. Like I said, we'll see how it starts out. And it's not just Larkin, it's Kopp as well out for the Red Wings. So dealing with some attrition at center ice, that's not what you want either. Alex, what do you think here, Detroit, Tampa Bay?
Looking at the recent form of both these teams, I can just hear drunk Joe Namath in my ear saying struggling, because that's literally what these two teams are doing right now. I mean, Tampa Bay is just free falling right now. And it's funny when we talk about this division and we talk about, okay, with Detroit, Tampa Bay, Buffalo now in the mix. It's just so weird how everything's just blended up. You look at, who's on the top and who's at the bottom right now. And just, you wouldn't have guessed that talking about it in October. But that being said, we've seen 2 of the last 3 meetings go past regulation. Both teams desperately needing points and desperately just needing some positive momentum. So this is a great draw spot, plus 337 available over at Bet Online. And I'm also taking a shot once again with Sir Patrick Kane to score a goal. Cashed in and still just short of the bargain bin range, plus 275 is the price that I got here, but plus 270 in the other game with the absence of both Kopp and Larkin. He's got to step up and deliver offensively, and I think he will do that. So Patrick Kane anytime goal, and this game to go past overtime or past regulation.
All right, good stuff. I got a couple goal props. Gonzalez, Marco Kasper scored last game, and there's more onus on him now with these injuries for the Detroit Red Wings. But yeah, Marco Kasper with DeBrincat and Kane, good value there. I wouldn't argue Emmett Finney, even though he's cooled off from his little spurt, but that's a consideration for Tampa. Like I said, Gage Gonzalez, Corey Perry, didn't score last game, but he's been certainly been able to score multiple times since joining the Lightning. And this one is just it's like the run that Gavrikov just had, scoring a couple games in a row for the Rangers, where you're just, it's going to end, but until it does, you probably got to put pizza money on it. And for me, that's J.J. Moser for the Tampa Bay Lightning, who, believe it or not, has scored in back-to-back games for the Lightning on the blue line. And he's plus 1150 in that range to score tonight. And he's on the top pair now with all the injuries. Keep that in mind. With Declan how about that? That's your top pair tonight, Moser and Carlisle. And Hedman, they don't, as of now, I see him with Steven Santini tonight. I don't even see him on the top pair unless that's a mistake. But like I said, they're still being careful with his minutes, Hedman, right now at this stage of the season. So load and game management too from Tampa Bay. I don't sense John Cooper's panicking or stressed out that they may not win the division. They may lose it to Buffalo. I think it's just get everybody healthy, play out this string, do enough to get your playoff position solidified and move on to the postseason right now with everything that's going on. So what I would say is, when I don't like the favorite in a price range like this, it's dog or pass. And for me, at least pregame, it's a pass. Matt, what do you think here? Detroit, Tampa Bay.
I'm going to roll with the dog here with given the value.
I'm going to take them. Good.
I'm going to go against the grain. I know, it's not, I'm not going to hammer this bet. I know Alex mentioned on Twitter, tread lightly today. It is a big card, but there's some weary lines and stuff like that. So, it's not a hammer bet by any stretch. For me, it's a look ahead bet. I don't know if you guys remember when we had Jason Demers on. He mentioned the AAC on St. Paddy's Day Saturday, which will be this Saturday for the Detroit Red Wings. You don't bet against Dallas on those days. You don't have to take Dallas. The overs are always worth a look too, because those games usually get to be pretty high scoring. But St. Paddy's Day parade through Dallas, 7:00 puck drop, local time. It's going to be a shit show in there. So I think Detroit gets 2 points tonight, and then I think they get the L come Saturday. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I know they played shitty in their last game, so I think they know they need a big game tonight. And I would love to see Patrick Kane pocket a couple, and get the win there in Tampa. I know Tampa, they're lingering around. They don't have a great record. They do have some games in hand, though. So these points to me are a little more meaningful for Detroit. So I think they have that the chip on their shoulder going into the game.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt. That's a great song, by the way, Linger. Do you have to let it linger? Cranberries from back in the day.
That is a great song.
It's great song, man. Great song. Every time I hear that word, that's what I think of, Linger. So I'm going to watch this game. It's going to be a live betting game for me. Other than the props, I think there's some good prop options. More of a prop game for me here. All right, next up, Columbus, Florida. Even money, minus 110, minus 115. Actually, Columbus, a slight road favorite here in this one. The total sitting at, it looks like 6.5 shaded to the under here in this game tonight. You know what? I thought I'd be on Columbus. I'm because cold feet is the word right now with Columbus a little bit. Maybe it's because Florida stung me the other night with that this epic comeback against Detroit / collapse by the Red Wings, that maybe I'm a little hesitant, because my thought process here is this looks cheap for Columbus right here in this spot. We'll see how they fare. They're obviously off the game against Tampa, where they got the win and bounced back after the overtime loss. But Merzlikins, again, is the last couple of games red hot when Rick Bowness first joined the team as a head coach. But all of a sudden, the last couple times I've seen Merzlikins starting to get leaky again, starting to become Merzlikin all over again. And that's concerning for me right now. And, Florida showed me enough chutzpah is the word against the Detroit Red Wings there, coming back, played a hard, tough game. I don't think this is an auto win here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So I'm going to try to I'll bet Columbus live if they're trailing, because the one thing you'll get from Columbus is a good effort. They don't quit in games. Very resilient now under Rick Bowness. We saw them come back to get a point against Utah. They've come back multiple times down a goal or two since he's become the head coach. So that's going to be my approach. Don't love them pregame at this price. Take them live at a better price if they're trailing at some point. So that's what I'm going to do. Columbus live, and I'll put that on the Patreon page. Check the Patreon page with the card later. It'll say Columbus live if they're trailing for me. Alex, what do you think? Jackets, Panthers.
I grabbed Columbus at a cheaper price earlier today. I got minus $1.04 offshore. That was at my bookie, and then now we've seen it move. And I understand the hesitation here, but I think that Florida win was kind of a little bit more of Detroit collapsing than it was Florida having just a fantastic game. I still trust in Columbus here, fighting for the playoff spot, needing the points. Even at $1.10, $1.15, I still would recommend back in Columbus pregame.
All right, there you go. So Alex, a braver man than me with this game. But yeah, I mean, it's Columbus or pass. Let me make that crystal clear.
Right.
I mean, no chance I'm on Florida here. But like I said, I'm going to see if maybe Columbus, I can get an in-game price that's a little bit better than this. Yeah,
this is a night and a spot where you can afford to be picky about price.
Yes.
Right. Like, we should always be picky about price anyway, but especially in this particular spot. And like you said, you can wait for it. You've got a team that plays well behind, they ride that momentum. So it makes sense to wait it too.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm just going to mention it right now. It's one of two bargain bins tonight in this game. It's Connor Garland. Yeah. I'm not going to hide. I'll keep the other one, a surprise for the end of the show in the bargain bin segment. But yeah, this was the plus 390 is what I was able to get with Connor Garland tonight, with the way he's played and the effort he's given. And it's not just that he scored multiple goals for the Jackets. He's had chances to score other goals. He's had great chances to have more than that. For the Columbus Blue Jackets so far. So he's really given them good energy. I love that pickup right from the moment I heard that they got him. So great fit so far it's been. So that is one of two bargain bins, just giving it away right now. Plus 390, Connor Garland for Columbus. Matt, what do you think here? Blue Jackets, Panthers.
Yeah, I'm on Columbus as well. I jumped in on that yesterday, right around the same price as Alex. I think I was minus 105 instead of 104. But yeah, I just think, you look at Florida, even you look at like their daily face-off, they've got like 9 guys day to day injured amongst the roster. There's been talks that they're going to quote unquote have some load management going on, which you don't hear a lot in hockey. But again, if they are going to miss the playoffs, they want to try and shore up that they're going to be in that bottom 10, to give themselves a chance in the lottery. But I am going to split it up. Columbus and team total over 3.5 plus 125. I think in Florida's previous 6 losses, 5 of them, they've given up 4 or more goals. So I think Columbus has a little more fight in them. They're trying to stick around in that very competitive sort of middle of the Eastern Conference. And then a prop, again, it's not going to be my I have 2 bargain bins again. I know. We got a little complaint on that, but after the 2-0 Tuesday, I'm definitely putting out 2. This is not one of my 2, but I do like Mason Marchment still on power play 1 PP point. Just 1 power play point plus 400 tonight, just to maybe get a second assist, maybe score a goal. So I'll definitely be on that prop as well. But main plays here: Columbus minus 105, and Columbus team total over 3.5 plus 125.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it is ridiculous from Bear Commander, Go Bears. Yeah, these large cards are insane. They should deviate
Up and
to
down.
split it up a little bit more, for crying out loud. Why do we have 2 games and we go from 2 games last night to 14 here tonight? You know, just have 4 or 5 last night and more like 9 or 10 tonight. You know, at least a little bit more even. I like big cards, but 14 is insane. It's insane to handicap it. It's insane to watch it at night. I want to watch as many games as possible. I'm flipping around like a fool every night with the remotes, just back and forth, bing, 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 here, there, and everywhere, changing. And I only have so many screens. I can't put every game on every screen. It's impossible.
That's what happens when you condense the schedule and then you take 3 weeks off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why they're just shoehorning. That's the term I've used all season. They're shoehorning these games into a crazy short amount of time. But they've been doing that all year.
Next week we get a little more balance. We've got 5 on Monday, 6 on Wednesday. So next week will be a little more of a 5 on Friday next week. So they get back into a little bit of a rhythm. So
yeah, and then
to make matters worse. Yeah, and to make matters worse, 7 of the 14 games tonight, they all start at 7 p.m. Eastern without one 7:30 p.m. Eastern puck drop. Make that make sense. You're starting 7 games at this. No, we have nothing to watch. When everything hits first intermission, we're sitting there like a bunch of idiots with thumbs up our keisters, wondering what the hell are we going to do now? You know, in the first intermission, there's no other hockey game going on right now because they don't put one fucking game at 7:30 Eastern. How stupid can you be? Seriously.
It's as if the league sometimes honestly thinks we don't own remotes with our televisions.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking insane. Like they need to start staggering the schedule a lot better in these coming years. Like there's no reason to have a bunch of games and all of them start at the exact same time, all of them going to intermission at the same time. Even if it's 6:15, 6:45, you know, God, just stagger it the same way you do, with the Frozen Frenzy. Just have some of that time management in there so that people can watch a game literally for hours and just flip from one game to another.
Yeah, it's just it's. I mean, it's already crazy enough to have 14 games on one night. Half of your card starts at the same damn time, 7:00 p.m. Eastern time. Half of your games start at the same time, and you don't put one game in a 30-minute interval to at least give your consumers something to watch when everything hits first intermission with those 7 p.m. starts. I mean, you want consumers, you want viewers, and the point of them being consumers is to consume your product. Nobody's consuming shit when 7 games start at 7 p.m. Eastern and there's nothing to watch. 7:45 Eastern, 10 to 8 Eastern, you've given your fans nothing to watch because everything is going to be at intermission, and you got to wait for an 8 p.m. Eastern game. And then when those start, the 7 p.m. Eastern games are coming back to start the second period. Like, this is common sense logic, people, and NHL folks. It's just insane. Like you're capable of scheduling logically because you do the Frozen Frenzy schedule, you do the staggered start times. You're capable of it. Why don't you do it throughout the season?
First rule of Chinese buffet: always have a pan of something hot out.
Yeah. See, and it's funny. What builds up the anger is the more I think about it, the angrier I get. And that's what happens. I started talking about it, and I think about it more, and I get angrier talking about what a bunch of nonsense this is. But anyway, we have to deal with it. It is what it is. And we got to flip back and forth between a million games all at the same time, starting at the same time. All right, next up, we continue along with San Jose and Boston. We've got Boston minus 160, home favorites in this game. The total here at looks like 6.5 in this one, pretty much across the board. Finally, I've been riding Boston at home quite a bit, which many of you know that. I think they finally priced me out of range here a little bit. They have. I mean, I'm not laying minus 160 now with the Boston Bruins in this game. But they are trying to make it 14 straight home games now that they have won. Certainly not fading Boston at home. And San Jose off the loss to Buffalo. I expect San Jose to have a good effort tonight. Will it be enough is the question. San Jose first goal, first period. I'm tempted, but I didn't bet it. This is 1-2. We're just like the Columbus game. If I see Boston at plus money, I'll bet Boston live because they will push if trailing tonight. Push hard to win this game, not only for playoff positioning, but the streak. Streak's alive. I think now everyone's aware of it because the media keeps bringing it up to them, this great home win streak. So that is basically what I'm going to do here. I will, kind of have Boston circled for a live bet at plus money if they're trailing at some point. I think the draw's live, though. Give me the draw. I do like that here with the Sharks and the Bruins. And the total, I think, it could go either way. I could see 5-4. I could see 3-1. Boston's been playing low and slow at home the last few games, though. Keep that in mind. The LA game, they turned LA, a dead nuts over team, into a team that basically grinded along at a slow crawl, and that was an LA team that was flying over the total. So Boston's not exactly playing over pace right now in these home games. So I'm not enamored with an over, certainly not at 6.5. Alex, what do you think? San Jose, Boston.
Right back to what I had the other night. Draw, which I got plus 340. I'm seeing now plus 333 at Bet Online. Looks like the best price available. And then I'm on Boston to win the game in overtime or shootout, plus 550. Cash with that one, and I can see if that trend's going to continue with them getting into overtime, I can feel like Boston, that's when they'll have some energy, like I said, momentum, knowing to keep this streak alive. But I agree with you on looking for them live, in game as well, too. With this being, I feel like it could be a back and forth kind of a game. Probably will end up grabbing some Boston just straight up money line live if they are trailing.
All right, there we go. Good stuff there. As far as, Matt, what do you think here in this one? San Jose, Boston.
It's probably a pregame pass for me. When I first saw this game on the card earlier in the week, I was thinking it would be an over smash. But yeah, I got burned by Boston and LA. I think Boston's playing a little tighter at home. So I agree. This game could be a 6-5 game in overtime, or it could be, a 3-1 game with an empty net goal. Don't have a big feel for the sides. I don't want to bet against Boston given the streak. I think San Jose, could win this game, but yeah, it's just a pass for me pregame.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Good stuff. As far as props for this game, when you look at San Jose, it feels like weeks I've been talking about the same players every San Jose game. Graf and Misa and Sherwood. Celebrini's on a 4-game goal streak. I mean, you probably should bet that, but you're just only getting plus 135. Sharks' first goal in 3 straight games for Celebrini. So the price even on that isn't great, plus 490. But when it's that strong, he scored the first goal in 3 straight. Nothing wrong with taking a shot with that. Yeah, Colin Graf from the area. That's very important. So there's a good night, I think, to look at Colin Graf for San Jose as far as a goal prop. There are some decent Massachusetts, Boston area connections for this San Jose Sharks team. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, not to mention
Will Smith. Goal parlay tonight.
Yeah,
maybe
Will Smith.
Celebrini and Graf or something like that.
Yeah, Adam Gaudette, Celebrini, Will Smith, they all have college hockey ties to play in there, in the past. So like I said, Gaudette and Smith, the Massachusetts natives as well. So like I said, Gaudette is definitely worth a shot too. I mean, he's been quiet a little bit lately, but this is the night maybe for nothing gets you stimulated to make an offensive impact like playing close to home. So I could see him making an impact. I think for Boston too, I mean, I've been repetitive with Husnudinov, but still on the top line, I believe, for Boston. So I don't mind a look there. Zaka's heated up, and so maybe look toward him as well. He's definitely been on a nice little uptick offensively of late. All right, New York Rangers and Winnipeg Jets. We've got the Jets minus 150, home favorites, total here 5.5 in this one, pretty much across the board. Looks like here for this game, you would expect Shesterkin for the Rangers back in net. It is, and Hellebuck for the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg off the loss to Anaheim in their last game. We'll see if they're able to bounce back from that. And I liked Anaheim. I couldn't believe the price was that good. With Anaheim in that game against the Winnipeg Jets. Jets have won 3 straight and 5 of the last 6 against the New York Rangers. Rangers all of a sudden, 3-1 in their last 4 games, 4-2 in their last 6. Back-to-back wins against Philly and Calgary. We'll see if they can continue that here against Winnipeg. 5 straight unders for Winnipeg, but you're going to give me 5.5 with the Rangers. I'm going to take an over, and that's what I'm doing here. Over 5.5 is the main look here for me with the New York Rangers in this one. They have scored 3 goals or more in 6 straight games, the New York Rangers. This is risky because the Winnipeg Jets are off a loss. I expect they're going to want to play better, and Hellebuck is always capable. But 2.5 at -110 looks cheap here on a Ranger team total. I mean, 6 straight games where they've scored at least 3 goals. I think that's worth a look. So I'm going to take a little of that as well. Rangers team total over 2.5, -110, and also that full game over 5.5. Alex, Rangers Jets.
I wish you luck. This is another game where I saw it and I said, this is a complete pass for me. I'm not touching Rangers games. I've been kind of burned with them, and Jets at this price is just outrageous. So it's pass for me.
Yep, nothing wrong with that at all. Lafreniere scored in back. I'm with Jonathan totally on Morgan Barron. He started with that game against Tampa when he scored, but that was more I like Morgan Barron that night because he always scores or scored multiple times against Tampa. But he has scored now in 3 of the last 5 games, and at plus 725, it's a great price. 100% it's a great price for Morgan Barron for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. So I'm totally in agreement with that. It's worth a shot here as far as goal props. I think Perreault, too, for the New York Rangers. He's gotten more opportunity, ice time. It's with Zibanejad and Lafreniere on that top line. And Gabe Perreault he's been noticeable these last handful of games for the Rangers. Matt, what do you think here in this one? New York Rangers, Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, I'm also on the over in this one. Jumped in yesterday. Just seeing a 5.5 with the Rangers right now. 2 elite goalies when they're at the top of their game, but both of them have given up, 2 or more goals in most of their starts as of recent. So, I'm going to take a shot here with the over. Maybe it comes down to a 3-2 game with an empty net to get us to that mark, but I just feel like the Rangers are an over team right now.
All right, good stuff. I agree, and that's why at 5.5. Plus the Winnipeg Jets, after scoring only 1 goal, I could see this being a spot for them where they get, like I said, a little bit more antsy offensively, and as a result, maybe the game opens up a little bit here in this one. All right, Adam Edstrom's on the second line, 1,100. Ryan Wilkinson, I don't hate it. I mean, he's not exactly scored a ton of goals here for the New York Rangers, but you can't argue that there's value moving on up to the second line. Velarde with 3 goals in 4 games against Shesterkin, says Jonathan. So if you're looking for someone with success against a particular team and goaltender, you've got that as far as Velarde against Igor Shesterkin. All right, Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars as the gauntlet, 3-game gauntlet for the Edmonton Oilers wraps up tonight. Vegas, Colorado, Dallas, 3 straight, and they are 2-0. How about that? For as much as the defense had been struggling and just the team overall had been struggling, and now here they are with a chance to sweep these 3 big-time statement step-up games against the Golden Knights, Avs, and the Stars. We've got Dallas -120, home favorites, 6.5 being the total in this game. Here's going to be the issue for the Edmonton Oilers trying to complete this 3-0 sweep of Dallas, Colorado, and Vegas. It's that you don't have to convince Dallas to get enthusiastic about playing the Edmonton Oilers, obviously with what's gone on in the playoffs the last couple of years. So there should always be a level of focus here for the Dallas Stars, playing the Edmonton Oilers, getting bounced by them in the conference finals. You've got a Dallas team that's obviously playing very well, 9-0-1. So they've gone 10 games without a regulation defeat, the Dallas Stars. So been impressive during this stretch. Edmonton, like I said, give them credit. Everyone really, really, criticizing them and, where's the defense? And now they beat Vegas and Colorado in back-to-back games and hold both opponents to below 3 goals in both of those victories. So, like I said, definitely got to give them a decent amount of credit for that. No question. Will it continue here? The big story coming out of the Colorado win is they won the game, but they lost Connor Ingram to injury, and he is not starting tonight. Tristan Jarry is. And Tristan Jarry was great in the third period. I think it was probably the best period of hockey he's had in ages for Edmonton because he hasn't had many. And he was great, trying to nail down that 4-3 victory in the third. Jake Ottinger, obviously, in net here for the Dallas Stars. But now he's the starter, right? Now we kind of have to see this for a full game from Tristan Jarry. We'll have to see it before I believe it as far as him, being able to step up and being able to, get the job done here in a spot like this. full game now. He knows he's the starter. Dallas knows he's the starter. Can he get the job done is going to be the question going into this one. Great game. Very much looking forward to it. I'm just going to go first in full game over here. I'm still not totally off the Edmonton over train. They had that one game that finally stayed under 6.5. It was the game against Vegas, barely, because it ended 4-2 in favor of Edmonton. And then it went right back to obviously over 6.5 against Colorado. And I didn't love it pregame because the price was just so insane at minus 150. Now we've got it back down to a reasonable minus 125 here for the over 6.5. So I'm on that pregame. I'm going to just wait slightly to get a little better than what's out there right now on the over 1.5 in the first period. But yeah, definitely pregame. I like over 6.5 here, minus 125. Not to mention Dallas now off a game where many games in this win streak, they've lit up the scoreboard. They got held down even though they beat Vegas and only scored 2. I could see the offense having an uptick tonight as well. I think Edmonton's going to get on the board, though. I really do think they'll be able to chip in offensively tonight. Good game. Draw, I don't hate a look toward that, although there's other draws I like on this card more than this. Great game, though. Alex, what do you think? Edmonton, Dallas.
Yeah, it's not my favorite draw on the board, but I did grab a piece plus 320. We've seen Dallas the last 3 games they've played. Like I said, been kind of tighter games, even if they're high scoring, but they still have kept teams, their opponents kind of close into the contest. And certainly Edmonton's going to be fired up for this one. This is a rivalry. We talked about it with Dallas and Vegas. That has become a bit of a rivalry through their playoff times. Certainly Edmonton and Dallas. It's not like it was in the 90s, but it's definitely in that kind of vein of where these are two teams that don't necessarily like each other. They know that they're in each other's way as far as the path through the Western Conference. And I think this is going to be a close battle. So I do like to draw pregame. In game, I'm going to wait for that full game total, hopefully drop to 6, maybe even 5.5. I could see this one being a kind of slow starting pace, like I said, kind of a feel out process. So I think we will be able to at least get 6 in game. So over 6 in game, draw pregame for me.
What I would say, for those of you that want to take Dallas, want to bet Dallas here, because their money line, it's not like their money line's expensive. It's minus 120, minus 125, is what I'm seeing right now. But I'm just looking at it right now, the last 6 Edmonton losses, they've given up 6, 5, 6, 4, 5, 7. Bet their team total over 3.5 if you like Dallas. And you'll get a little better price. It's like plus 100 for the Dallas team. Save yourself 20 cents, 25 cents. Chances are, if Dallas wins, they're scoring 4 goals. 6 straight Edmonton losses, they've given up at least 4 goals. So when Edmonton loses, they give up 4. That's been the pattern of late. Matt, what do you think here, Edmonton, Dallas?
Yeah, I'm on that team total over 3.5. Dallas during this 12-0-1 stretch, most of their games, they're getting to 4 goals. Even that game they lost to Colorado. So I know they were a little tighter in that Vegas game on Tuesday night, but I think things open up in this one. 7 of their last 10 head-to-head have gotten over 7 or more goals. The last time these teams met was up in Edmonton back in November, 8-3 Dallas wins. So, high scoring affairs between these teams. Dallas is definitely not immune to giving up a goal or 2, especially early. But I think their offense is rolling. They're playing well, missing a couple big pieces. They've got a lot of guys stepping up. I think I saw something like 14 different goal scorers since the Olympic break or something like that. So, a lot of different guys chipping in throughout the roster. So you still have an Edmonton team that's 8-2 to first period overs. Dallas obviously didn't get there in that Vegas game, but they're 7-3 as well. So my favorite play of this, my favorite 2 plays of this game are Dallas team total over 3.5, and then this is just a perfect game for a same game parlay. I'll obviously be watching the game, so doubling down with a Matty Rob special here. You can get that at plus 112 at Caesars, 1.5, 5.5. So I'll be on that because I think you get 2 in the first tier, and I think we have no problem getting to 6.
And this is, by the way, this is ESPN Plus national television game tonight with the Oilers and the Stars. The Gary Thorne of ESPN will call this game tonight. Bob Wischusen, at least as close to Gary Thorne as there is right now on the network. As far as props for this one, I like Podkolzin because he's up there with Draisaitl. The value you're getting there with Podkolzin, it makes sense. Roslovic with Draisaitl makes sense to me. So those are a couple there on the Edmonton side. Adam Henrique, by the way, back from injury. He's been out for a very long time. He's going to make his return here for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. For Dallas, Maverick Bourque going back to the well. Sammy Steele putting on the Ritz, Justin Ritzkovian. I like the Colin Blackwell look, believe it or not. 3 goals on 8 shots versus Jari. Oscar Beck, a birthday boy prop at plus 950. He did score, Oscar Beck. And by the way, it's Beck. Don't be fooled by the spelling. It's not back. It's Beck, even though it's spelled back. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, Oscar Beck at plus 950. So I don't mind that. Matt Robinson made the case for the captain in the last game, and it was a bargain bin for him. I'm making the case now, too. 3 goals in 3 games in the last 5. He scored. A great price still, over plus 300. Jamie Benn. And plus, this is a team that's knocked your ass out 2 years in a row in the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Western Conference Final. You don't think the captain's coming to play tonight? You would think. Playing a team like the Edmonton Oilers that's ended your season, 2 years in a row. I think I'm saying that all too many times for Matt to be comfortable with. But nevertheless, like I say, I expect Jamie Benn to have a good effort. And he's been good lately. Matt will tell you that too. I mean, he's been really solid lately for the Dallas Stars, and his offense is starting to heat up as well. All right, Philadelphia, Minnesota. Minnesota minus 210 home favorites, actually minus 220 in some spots, 5.5 the total. I'm off it, finally off it. No wild overs for me tonight here in this game. Dan Vladar is going to start. He's a goalie that's very capable. And Minnesota, you look at the Utah game, you look at the Colorado game, pace is slowing a little bit. I think they're trying to play a little tighter style of game as we get closer to the playoffs. So we had our great run with the overs, and boy, did they pad that bankroll. You talk about a 60-unit season of profit that I've had. A good chunk of that, I'm sure, was Minnesota Wild overs during that epic run. But I think I'm going to back off and finally stay off it tonight here. Even though it's 5.5, it would be so tempting to bet it again. But I think at 5.5, I'm going to stay off it here tonight. Like I said, we're going to get Vladar for the Flyers tonight. Rick Tocchet opted to keep him for tonight. Jesper Wallstedt is confirmed in net for the Minnesota Wild. His second start in the last 3 games. He gave up 2 goals on 36 shots against Colorado. I thought he played pretty well, one of his better games there. I am hoping I wanted to bet Bobby Brink against his old team for a goal prop tonight. But Bobby Brink for the Minnesota Wild is a game-time decision. There is no update. If he feels good, they expect him to play. He scored his first goal in 3 games for the Wild, I believe, in their last game as well. So I had that certainly circled for a goal prop, Bobby Brink. So I'm just hoping he is in the lineup for the Wild tonight. And if he is, plus 400 was the price I was seeing for Bobby Brink tonight. And I'll be betting that for sure if he's a go. Alex, what do you think? Oh, draw. Give me the draw. I do like the draw in this game. East versus West. Points are valuable for both teams right now. Draw for sure, Flyers and Wild. I'm pretty sure, too, with the Flyers and Wild, these have been 2 teams that have played their share of competitive games. The game in Philly back in October was a 2-1 Flyer win. It went to overtime. Minnesota is always capable of overtime. But Philly's gone past regulation in 4 of their last 9 games. 4 of the last 7 head-to-head have gone past regulation. So, yeah, that draw makes sense to me. Alex, Flyers, Wild.
Yeah, I'm on the draw. That's literally what the notes I had with that. But it's amazing that Bobby Brink's even a game-time decision. That play where he got hit in the boards, I thought for sure he had broken his arm. The fact that he was able to come back and then score a goal, too. First time back home, playing with the Wild, having a whole bunch of friends and family there. They seemed to have been, obviously visibly upset when he went down with the injury, but to come back out and then get a goal, that was big. So I would look for him potentially, even though I said, like he said, if he does play, he'll be slated to go on the 3rd line, if I'm not mistaken. Going to take a little bit of a step back down, but I would maybe eyeball him even in game, anytime goal scorer. But pregame, I am on this draw, like you mentioned, 4 of the last 7 meetings have gone past regulation, and with a Wallstedt start, I still think Wallstedt honestly is going to eventually be the better goalie between him and Gustafsson, but he's taken a little bit of a step back, which that's fine. He's still a rookie, still a young guy, and he is, playing his role as a backup. But I can see this one being kind of a closer battle. He said not on the over. You can always wait for that in game 2 at a 5.5 price. but I like to draw more than anything else.
Good stuff there, indeed. Jonathan with the Bobby Bond reference, which, by the way, Kyle Bond, who is Bobby Bond's grandson, has been on the show multiple times with us. He'll probably be back on a couple of Saturdays closer to Stanley Cup playoff time. So we're excited to reunite with Kyle Bond. He's been a good guest in the past on Saturdays, and probably be back in the rotation as we get closer to the Stanley Cup playoffs at least a couple of times. So good to reconnect with him on the show. What do you think here, Matt? Philadelphia, Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm conflicted. Obviously, this should be a good game to watch. Obviously not going to lay minus 220. If you're a streak better, it's tough to not take a shot with Philly plus 180. They're 5-1 against the Wild head-to-head in their last 6 meetings. Only 2 of those were in Minnesota. The other 4 were in Philly, but still a pretty good streak against this team head-to-head. But I don't want to bet against Minnesota right now. I debated taking Minnesota team total minus 115 over 3.5. I mean, they're scoring goals pretty consistently, but I don't know. We'll see how kind of the night's going. If it's one of those nights where of those early 7 or 8 games at 7 o'clock Eastern time, you're seeing a bunch of goals early, and it's just gonna be one of those nights. Then maybe I take a shot with the over here if we get to plus money a couple minutes into the game. But yeah, I'm just very back and forth on this one, so it might be a pass for me pregame.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. As far as I already mentioned props, but Ryan Hartman I may go with for Minnesota. Did score last game plus 330. Pretty solid price as far as that's concerned. All right, next up we've got 3 games left. No, 4, I should say. Chicago and Utah. Utah minus 220 home favorites. 6 the total. Here in this, what the fuck's going on with this schedule, man? Chicago and Utah again? Jesus Christ. Yep. My God, that's insanity. This is like the 3rd time in like 10 days for these 2 teams head-to-head. My goodness. Another bang-up job by these schedule makers. Goodness. All right, as far as this game goes, Chicago's 2-0 now against them. There's no freaking chance I'm laying minus 220. They're coming off a road trip to this Utah Mammoth team, and they played a shit ton of games, and I saw it. They had nothing in the tank against Minnesota. No chance I'm going to take Utah at this price. I know there's off 2 losses. I usually expect them to be certainly focused, but you got to have your legs, you got to have your energy, and that they've faced a grueling road schedule, and now back home, team that they've struggled with. I got to admit, I'm tempted by Chicago. I mean, I am at plus 180 here in this game to make it 3 straight over Utah. It's just really tough. All the travel, all the games, all on the road in a condensed period of time, and now you're coming back home against a team you've struggled with, and you're laying this kind of number. Spencer Knight hasn't been confirmed, but he's projected. Now, that's what I'm waiting on. I'm not getting. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say it's Arvid Soderblom. He was in the starters net this morning. Even I haven't seen any confirmation on goalie post yet for whatever reason, but from all the beat writers and indication, it's going to be Soderblom.
Yeah, that changes things completely. No Chicago now. No Chicago bet now. Maybe Utah team total over, but again, this is just a pass for me pregame. I'm going to wait, see how this one plays out before I get involved in it. But like I said, I don't like Utah at this price in this spot. They played a lot of hockey, all on the road, first game back home. Yeah, and it's just not a price I'm interested in with all the games they've played and all this road travel and back home for the first time, which is always tough. What do you think here, Alex? Chicago, Utah.
The 2 plays that I absolutely love in this game. Well, 3 because I have a bargain bin as well, but the 2 that I like as far as just game centric, Hawks team total over 2.5. You can get plus 105 at Bet Online, plus 100 at FanDuel, and I like Chicago first goal or first period plus 180. I think they can come out and, like I said, jump all over what could be a fatigued Utah team. And like I said, these teams that play each other, this will be the 3rd time in 10 days. The Hawks have seemingly had their number. They've matched up against them well. I like the energy and the pace there. Like I said, a little trepidation back in the full money line because it's Soderblom. And that now it's understandable he get the start. He got his first ever career shutout in the NHL against Utah in this building just a couple of weeks ago. But that's exactly the reason why I'd be bullish about backing the Hawks to win this game. I think Utah could maybe get some goals past him in this contest. But I like the Hawks to at least get 3 goals here and get the first goal of the game. So those are my 2 plays. And then I have a bargain man I'll talk about later.
All right, there you go. Excellent. I'm going back a bit, but St. Louis, Carolina. I forgot to mention this. I'm just seeing it now, and I just realized I didn't even mention this. I'm on the St. Louis goal in the first period in that game. It is the system. Carolina is a minus 300 or greater favorite in some spots. So I did bet St. Louis first goal, not first goal, St. Louis goal in the first period at like minus 120 in that game against Carolina. By the way, Vancouver, I remember that angle's been so strong, and I know Vancouver was in this angle against Carolina when Carolina was in Vancouver, and Alex was the only one that took it that night, and Vancouver still got on the board in the first period in that game, which tells you how strong it's been. So it's at that point now where when I see it and you get that minus 300 favorite, I'm betting the dog to score in the first period. That is how strong it has been. So I forgot to mention that earlier. I'm just mentioning it now. Blues goal in the first period there. Matt, what do you think here in this one? Anything you like? Chicago, Utah.
Yeah, I think this is a pass game for me pregame. I do want to check it out and see, what the pace looks like. See if I might jump on a first period over, a full game over if we get a good price. But yeah, nothing for me on this pregame. No props or anything either.
All right. As far as for props for me in this game, I didn't have as many in this game as far as props go. For Utah, there was one that I ended up looking at, and it's because he's back on the top line again with Schmaltz and Keller. At least it looks like it. It's Lawson Krause for the Utah Mammoth. All right. We got 3 games left. Nashville, Vancouver. Nashville minus 150 to minus 160 road favorites. 6 the total in this game. We saw, obviously, Vancouver actually hung in there against Ottawa. It was actually a pretty good game from Kevin Lankinen, who was in net against the Senators on Monday night, but still Ottawa was able to get a 2-0 victory over the Vancouver Canucks in that game. Nashville looking to they're still in the playoff race. They're only a few points out. So this is you got to take advantage of these situations when you play Vancouver and you're trying to make the playoffs and get the job done. They're off a 4-2 win against Seattle, Nashville, in their last game. We'll see if they're able to carry that over here into this game tonight. One thing I want to note here about Vancouver is they've suddenly, they were a defensive sieve for a very long time, and now all of a sudden they've given up 3 goals or less. So my initial lean was Nashville team total over. I think I'm going to I don't trust them enough to score 4 because Vancouver's Lankinen's finally given them some better goaltending. They've kind of been, relying on just their goaltending to keep them in it. They're having a hard time scoring goals as well, Vancouver, right now. I could see 3-1 Nashville, like 2-1 Nashville, and they put an empty netter in to put it away. I think that's probably what we're going to see. So I don't do many regulation bets anymore, as you guys know, but I'm on it here. Nashville in regulation, close to even money. Alex, what do you think? Nashville, Vancouver.
It's a pass for me, but that would be the only way I'd lean to Nashville in regulation to knock that money line price down a bit. Obviously, can't back Vancouver right now, but it wouldn't. This game, like I said, late game, maybe one I end up watching and jumping in live.
Yeah, that's probably too something to keep in mind is that I've got this Preds in reg bet. It's a smaller bet. We might add a little more if they're trailing at plus money, just the straight money line. That's the plan that I've got for this game, the plan of attack. Matt, do you have a plan of attack here, Nashville, Vancouver?
I didn't, but I think I'm going to tell you on that one with Nashville regulation. This is a late game. So we'll see kind of how the night's going. Maybe we need to jump in on something. So, I just feel like Vancouver is so bad right now that if you can get anything near even money, even for a regulation win, I feel like Nashville can get it done.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, I'm just seeing it now. I think this might have been confirmed just a little bit ago because this is obviously a late game. But no, it's actually not Lankinen tonight. It's going to be Nikita Tolopilo starting for the Vancouver Canucks. So Topo Chico, Topo Gigio, as we've jokingly referred him to throughout the season. So it's Lankinen had been pretty solid the last 2 games. We'll see how he fares. He's 1-4, 3.29 goals against, 892 save. I'm going to stick to the regulation, but maybe that makes the chances of Nashville hitting that team total over a little bit better with Tolopilo in net. So, but I'm going to stick to that team total or the regulation rather with Nashville. Yeah, Matthew Wood. I said Wood is good. I agree with that as far as a goal prop here for the Predators. Going into this game. One thing to note, too, with Matthew Wood, didn't score last game, but he still scored twice in the last 5 for this Predators team. and 4 of the last 10 games as well. He is a BC guy, 100%, so close to home. You'd think there'd be some kind of family connection in attendance for Matthew Wood tonight. So I like that. I like the goal prop there for sure at plus 360 in that range there for Matthew Wood for Nashville here tonight in this one. I think if I was to bet someone for Vancouver, I'd look at Höglander or Liam Ogren, because both of them are in the top 6, and there's a little bit of value on their prop compared to their line mates. So that's probably what I'd look at on the Vancouver side. All right, we got Colorado, Seattle. Colorado minus 210, road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. This is a Seattle team that's leaking oil right now. That's the best way to put it. It's a team that looks like they're in danger of falling out of a wild card spot. They're, just absolutely clinging to one right now. But 4-2 loss to Nashville in their last game. They did not have a great homestand at Climate Pledge Arena by any stretch of the imagination. And obviously now they've got to face Colorado coming into town here off a frustrating 4-3 loss to the Edmonton Oilers. We'll see if they're able to. Now, here's the one thing about this series. Colorado has won 5 straight. They've won 3 in a row here in Seattle. They've scored 5 in 2 of the wins, and then one of those wins was 3-2. So what I'm going to do here in this game is split with Colorado and reg and Colorado team total over 3.5. That's what I'm going to do here. An interesting split coming off the Oiler loss. Jared Bednar and the team was not thrilled that Nathan McKinnon was assessed a 5 in a game for that collision with Connor Ingram, and I don't blame them. That should have been a 2-minute minor. We've already talked about that, and certainly I could see us them being upset about that. I don't know. I don't see Seattle playing really good hockey at the moment. They're giving up goals again. The offense, 2 goals or fewer in 3 of their last 4 games. Colorado's beaten them 5 straight times, 3 straight times here in Seattle. And I'd expect Colorado to not look past Seattle after that loss to Edmonton. So that's what we'll do here. We'll do Colorado in regulation. And again, that'll get that price down to closer to even money and split it with the Colorado team total over 3.5. I guess you're right. The one concern is Grubauer against his old team. Does he play well here in this game? We'll see. And by the way, Bobby McMahon hasn't made his Kraken debut yet. We'll see if tonight's the night that he does. But it looks like he didn't play against Nashville, and it's still up in the air for tonight. Landeskog, by the way, and Lehkonen are still out for the Colorado Avalanche tonight in this game. But Colorado regulation team total over 3.5 split. Alex, what do you think here, Avs and Kraken?
Yeah, just looking at the numbers with Grubauer against Colorado, 5-6-1 with an 892 save percentage, a 307 goals against average. So not the most sparkling of numbers.
No, Nick. Grubauer owns the Avs. That's Nick saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the ownership part comes in there, but I like goals.
That's not ownership. That's okay numbers. It's not great.
Right. Yeah, but looking at those numbers, that just helps solidify me with what I like the first period over. And I'm not going to wait for this one. I got minus $1.30 at FanDuel. If you see obviously a little bit higher than that 35 or 40, then try and wait a couple minutes into the contest. But I like at least 2 goals here within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was good in that series. I will give you that. Years ago, he did play well against the Colorado Avalanche. When Seattle beat him in that first round series, I remember that. And then they played. I think it was at Maddie's Dallas Stars in the second round, and of course Dallas beat Seattle in the second round. Yeah, that's going back a few years now. He did play well in that series, but recently, you're right, the numbers are pedestrian for Philip Grubauer head-to-head against his old team, the Colorado Avalanche. Hopefully that continues tonight because, like I said, I'm on Avs and Reg split with team total over 3.5. Matt, what do you think here, Colorado, Seattle?
I think the only play for me would be team total on Colorado. I think I'll take a shot with that over 3.5. I feel like they're playing well right now, and Seattle's kind of going the opposite direction.
All right, good stuff. Now they gave Blackwood the start against Edmonton. I was surprised by that. I think Wedgwood's their better goalie. I don't see a confirmation yet for Colorado at the moment, so we'll see who's going to be in net for them. in this game. But nevertheless, like I said, I think I still like Colorado. Regardless of who's in net, Blackwood or Wedgwood, I'm on Colorado, and Reg split with the team total for Colorado over 3.5. And then as far as props for this Avs and Kraken game, I do like Matty Beniers. He scored in back-to-back games for the Kraken. Nichushkin scored last game. Ross Colton, he also got on the board, and it looks like he's going to be on the second line here tonight for the Colorado Avalanche, although he may not play still. I should point out he's a game-time decision, it looks like. He sustained that upper body injury against Edmonton, scored before he got that injury against the Oilers. It is day-to-day. We'll see if if he is in the lineup. I do like his goal prop here tonight for the Avs.
Looking at goalie post, it says all three goalies were on the ice this morning, but Decord was the first to leave the ice. So,
that might be that. That's kind of a tell that it might be Joey Decord possibly here tonight for the Seattle Kraken. So very interesting that they wouldn't give Grubauer the start against his old team. But Joey Decord is the guy. So if you believe you need a win here, you're struggling, Joey should be the guy. Regardless of trying to do right by your backup and give him a start against his old team. So I get what Lane Lambert's doing if he goes with Decord. All right, last game, Pittsburgh, Vegas. We've got Vegas minus 150, home favorites, 6 the total. I am so damn tempted to take Pittsburgh. I mean, that's how much of a mess right now Vegas is. I mean, I can't lay minus 150 with the Vegas Golden Knights right now. The offense is stalled. They miss Mark Stone too. I mean, I don't think it's a total coincidence. Now they should be able to come together and overcome this kind of an injury. It's not like Mark Stone hasn't been hurt before for this team. You've had to deal with this shit constantly over the years. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you're just but it's noticeable that Vegas has not played well since he's been out for this Golden Knights team. 3 straight losses, 1-6 in their last 7. And think about the one win. I said this the other day before they lost to Dallas, and why I didn't trust them to beat Dallas. 1-6 in their last 7. You know what the one win was? A freaking lucky as shit win against Detroit, coming back from 3-1 down to beat Detroit 4-3 in a game that Detroit sat back and invited Vegas to come back and beat them. They said, we don't want this game. Here you go. Sat back the whole third period. It was a betcast night. We saw the thing, and Detroit just sat back the whole time. That's not how you protect a lead. You got to still try to, go for an insurance goal. And that's exactly what we saw in that one. So, and there it is. Mark Stone has scored in 80% of the games he's played. They miss his offense. They miss his ability to just take pucks away, be good away from the puck, be good defensively. They miss all that. But at the same time, there's enough talent on this Vegas team. You should be better than this without Mark Stone, and they're not right now. 1-6 their last 7. Their home record at T-Mobile Arena, it's not the Fortress these days. They have a losing record, 14-17 at home this year, the Vegas Golden Knights. If you combine regulation losses with overtime and shootout losses, they have lost more than they've won at home. And here they are minus 150. The problem is Pittsburgh is not a team I'm running a bet on because I see them slowing down and leaking oil. Don't forget this team, is some of it still to me is they've overachieved and the injuries are mounting. Brazeau is out now. Girard is out on the blue line. Malkin is still serving his suspension. Well, obviously we know Crosby out indefinitely. There's a lot going on with Pittsburgh. Shelov's in net. I actually have to favor him a little bit over Aiden Hill right now, who's going to get the start for the Vegas Golden Knights in this game. Pittsburgh or pass? I don't know if I'm going to bet Pittsburgh. I'm lukewarm on it because I kind of got both of these teams as bet against teams at the moment. I'd rather bet against both of them. Unfortunately, they're playing each other. But at this price, Penguins are pass. Alex, Pittsburgh, Vegas.
I'm passing this particular game, but I'm tempted, and I want to kind of talk about this out with you guys. I'm tempted to take plus 650 with Vegas to miss the playoffs. And these are games that they should win. Pittsburgh, they've got Chicago coming up next. Then after that, you play Buffalo, who's been hot. You play Utah, who you're right in lockstep in playoff competition with. I just wouldn't shock me to see Vegas continue to free fall here. And if you have, like I said, a LA or a Seattle come through with a streak, a San Jose pop up out of nowhere, or Utah continuing to press with that wild card spot, Vegas could easily be out of this playoff race the way that they're playing right now. So I think that might be something I actually put in my portfolio officially. Plus 650, Vegas Golden Knights miss the playoffs. I'm jumping in on that.
It's still a good price. I mean, it is still now. Look, a lot still has to happen. Like they're not in a position where wow, they're really on the verge of totally collapsing and falling out. But with another few losses in a row, boy, it would start to look a lot more dubious. And yeah, only 2 of their last 20 wins versus a team currently in the playoffs. That's true. When's the last time they beaten a playoff team? Is it December? Didn't I hear that somewhere? It's December. The last time they beaten a team in the playoffs.
If they lose 2 of these next 4, 3 of these next 4, that 650 is going to be gone. That's going to be plus 400, plus 300, 350. So I'm grabbing the value there.
And last I checked, Pittsburgh's a playoff team at the moment anyway. Yeah, you know what? Give me Pittsburgh. Small bet. Not big. Small bet. Pittsburgh plus 130. And I'm also going to take the draw, actually. 3 straight Pittsburgh games have gone past regulation. Vegas, there's been a lot of 2-1, 3-2. They had the overtime game against Detroit. 3 straight Pittsburgh games have gone past regulation, so dog and draw. We'll get in on that. Again, not a big bet, but dog and draw. We'll get in on both here. All right, Matt, what do you think here? Penguins, Golden Knights.
Yeah, I wasn't really going to jump in on this game, but I think I am going to take a shot with Pittsburgh. And Alex, to your point about missing the playoffs, I mean, yeah, there's 4 teams that can very easily catch them currently. And a lot of those teams, San Jose's got 3 games in hand. Seattle's got 2 games in hand. So to your point, a couple losses here for Vegas, and they might be on the outside looking in and really have to press to even get in. So I like that look a lot. They just don't look great. I know, the game against Dallas was a close game, but they just don't seem to be finding ways to win in games that they maybe are outplayed slightly. And I feel like, you look at any of the top 6 or 7 teams in the league, they're not outplaying every single team they play, but they find a way to win in games where they're not maybe the dominant team. So, yeah, I think that's a great look. I think, Pittsburgh is, sitting there. They're in a comfortable spot as far as their positioning, but over in the East, there's no comfortable spot. With the exception of maybe Carolina and Buffalo, I feel like are in a pretty good spot as far as, the playoffs. But, after that, I mean, there's wildcard teams that are a point behind Pittsburgh. So, and even teams on the outside looking in. So these points matter to Pittsburgh if they're trying to make that push. So I'll take a small shot with Pittsburgh here.
Yeah, I'm into a dog and draw. You know what, initially, when I was handicapping this game and looking at it, what kept me off Pittsburgh initially was the fact that Vegas, that is, got absolutely drilled, steamrolled in that TNT game on a Sunday afternoon just a couple weeks ago by Pittsburgh, 5-0. Now, if Vegas is the team they're supposed to be, one of the elites, this is a spot where when you lose 5-0 on the road to this team, you're supposed to mudhole stomp them in this spot. Yep. You're supposed to. But are they playing at the level where you trust them to do that right now? For me, no. And all you got to do is look at that stat that they haven't beaten a playoff team since November, actually, says Jonathan, with Utah the last time. November 20 against Utah, the last time they beat a team currently in a Stanley Cup playoff spot. Hard to believe. Wow. Unbelievable. That's stunning how they have just not been able to beat any kind of good competition. So there you go. And Alex, like I said, liking that plus 650 as far as the value and the price there on Vegas to possibly fall all the way out of the playoffs. And like I said, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but there's warning signs. And these teams behind Vegas, they're closing ground in a hurry. San Jose's right there. Don't rule out L.A. L.A. has played hard every game under DJ Smith, and I hate L.A. Well, I hated L.A. more with Jim Hiller there. I don't hate him as much now, I must admit. I still don't love him, but, I don't hate him like I did when Jim Hiller was the coach there. But they're playing hard. They haven't given up on making the playoffs. So like I said, Vegas got to turn this around. Will they? That's the question. As far as props for this final game, yeah, Shinikov, back-to-back, not back-to-back games with a goal, but he's been very good since joining the team. And he scored in 75% of his games against Vegas, Shinikov. So he's been very good at lighting up the Golden Knights. I'm going to Anthony Mantha for Pittsburgh. Back-to-back games with a goal for him. He's really starting to heat up for the Penguins. Jack Eichel, by the way, with goals in back-to-back games as well, entering this one. And also a couple, I think there was someone else too. Yeah, Kindle Ben Kindle, I'm interested in as well as far as a goal prop for Pittsburgh. I think for Vegas, Brett Howden, Braden Bowman. If I'm going to look in for value, Braden Bowman on the top line, Brett Howden on the second line with Marner and Dorofeyev. There does seem to be a little bit of value there for sure. All right, that's it. Great stuff. Great card. Great show. Matt did a great job. Alex, as always, of course, as well. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Check out wizardsportspicks.com. Great time of year. I mean, I've got all the college basketball conference tournament action on in front of me. Number one on the website for both college basketball and NHL this season, in addition to being number one in the NFL this season. So it's been unbelievable on the site and profitable in the NBA as well. So check it out, wizardsportspicks.com and patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Tons of exclusive Patreon live betcasts in April and beyond coming up as well. So make sure you check it out. And of course, the Dub Club All Sports subscription, $50 off discount for Patreon members only. That's the only place I posted that discount offer, was on Patreon for our members, just for you guys. It's a way to say thanks for tuning into the show and all the support, which we're closing in, Alex, on 400 Patreons right now, as far as the Patreon Ice Guys membership. We want to get there. Help us get there. We're almost at 400, folks. Let's keep moving to the big 400 mark as far as Patreon Ice Guys members. $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We had a couple orders come in earlier today, and you can save 20% off for the next 4 days. You hit the redeem button at the homepage, add your items to your cart, and 20% will be taken off at checkout. Nice weather coming on the way. Got T-shirts like these. Got some great caps as well, hoodies, mugs. We've got all kind of things, stuff for, lovely lady in your life, stuff for your kids. We've got all kind of great merch. So check it on out and save 20% for the next 4 days. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after and yes, we will have 2 bargain bin specials, and it's okay if we have them coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. We certainly got enough games to choose from. 14 on this Thursday. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
So I have 2 of them, and one is one that we share, Ian. You mentioned it earlier with that Columbus, Florida game. Connor Garland. Definitely got to grab him. Now, I did not get plus 390. I didn't have any books that were available that high, but DraftKings has plus 320 for Connor Garland, anytime goal scorer. So that may be available for most of the American viewers there. So that'll be my first bargain bin special of the night. The second one, we go to that Chicago-Utah game, and a guy who's starting to get his offense rolling and scored a couple against Utah in a previous meeting is Teuvo Teravainen. Teuvo time. We'll go with him, anytime goal scorer, plus 350 for my second bargain bin special. So
I think we lost Alex, but Connor Garland is one, and Teuvo Teravainen is the other for bargain bin special of the night for Alex. Matt, what do you got for bargain bin special of the night?
Sure. Yeah, I've got 2 as well. First one, we're going to go out to that Calgary game. One of the other Plano natives, Blake Coleman, playing on the first line, has 2 goals in his last 3 games. Anytime you can get a first line player, even on a team that's sort of at the bottom of the barrel, in bargain bin range. It's worth a look, and had some luck with Coleman in the past. So Blake Coleman anytime goal plus 330. And then bargain bin number 2. It's a guy that I hit a bargain bin on a couple weeks back. I went into detail on how he was playing in Calgary, and it was probably close to his home. Turns out he lives right outside of, or was from right outside of Edmonton. We did cash that night. He actually had 2 goals in that game against Calgary. Tonight he's playing his actual team that he grew up enjoying, the Edmonton Oilers. Give me Sam Steele anytime goal plus 425. That line's been hot, and he has chipped in along this win streak, or point streak, I should say, 12-0-1 in their last 13. And since it hit in the Calgary game, why not in the other Alberta game? But at home for him in Dallas against Edmonton, Sam Steele anytime goal plus 425.
Yeah, someone you've cashed with before, Sam Steele as well for the Dallas Stars. There we go for bargain bin special of the night. Yeah, Alex, you just froze for a bit. Just froze solid. That's what happened there a minute ago. But I reiterated what you're on. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, Connor Garland and Teuvo Teravainen for Alex with his bargain bin specials of the night. And I got 2 as well. Connor Garland, I mentioned already, plus 390 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And my second bargain bin special of the night, we're going to go to Pittsburgh, Vegas. Anthony Mantha, barely bargain bin worthy, but there is plus 310 at DraftKings out there. He scored in back-to-back games. I like the way he's playing. He's had a bunch of chances the last few games, playing well for the Penguins. Anthony Mantha, plus 310 for Pittsburgh, and Connor Garland, plus 390 for Columbus for bargain bin specials of the night for this Thursday card. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
Blackhawks team total over 2.5 plus 105. That's my best bet.
All right, Chicago team total over for Alex with best bet. Matt Robinson, what do you got for us, best bet?
I mentioned it through the breakdown, but I'm going to do a same game parlay on the Dallas Edmonton first period full game over 5.5 plus 112. 2 teams that have series history to overs, 2 teams that are hot to first period overs, 2 teams that are fully capable of opening things up. Edmonton has some serious offensive firepower. So I think we see a lot of goals in this game. So Dallas, Edmonton, same game parlay, first period over 1.5, full game over 5.5 plus 112. That'll be my best bet for tonight's Thursday card.
All right, good stuff there. A little SGP for the Matty Rob special in the Edmonton Dallas game for best bet here for this Thursday. My best bet for this Thursday slate, I'm going to walk right into the suspicious line of the night and take Anaheim here. I think it's cheap. I mean, they're just the better team. I think they'll show up, they'll win, and they'll hand another loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Quack, 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 quack. We'll go with Anaheim minus 105 against Toronto for my best bet here for this Thursday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Huge card today, which means tomorrow, much lighter Friday slate on the show. But I will be here, and David C. will be here from Raleigh, North Carolina. No Alex tomorrow, but he will be back on Saturday on the weekend. And we've got just 2 games anyway tomorrow, Kings Islanders and Oilers Blues. So it'll be a very short show tomorrow, but make sure you join us regardless. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll see you tomorrow on Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.